Oh, what the fuck?
Soccer in this. Hello everyone and welcome to the show. Later this afternoon in Tropicana Field, the South Region will send its representative to San Antonio and the NCAA Final Four. This weekend in Lake City and Tallahassee, soccer held its version of the Final Four. 11 local boys and girls soccer teams were looking to wrap up their season with a state championship. We'll check on their results in a minute. First, we begin with hardball, as we feature a Pinellas County baseball duel between the Pinellas Park Patriots and the Rebels of Dixie Hollins.
Defense and pitching getting the job done early in this game. Justin Loop here grounds one up the middle. Joe Castagner to his left makes the nice play on the short hop for Dixie. Then Mike Smith, the pitcher at the plate, he'll ground one to second, and they turn the 4-6-3 double play. The Dixie Bats start to come alive in the fourth inning against Ryan Bond. Here, Joe Thies doubles to right field. Patriots not doing a good job with the relay throw and taking advantage with some aggressive base running. Mike Smith, he'll come all the way home. The Rebels lead 1-0. David Bradbury then singles to center field. That scores Thies as he comes around third to make it a 2-0 Rebels lead. Same inning, catcher Danny Hartley. He'll single past the second baseman into right field. It's now 3-0 Dixie Hollins at the end of 4. We're taking to the bottom of the fifth. Mike Smith, the pitcher. He pitched a 3-hit shutout. Here he helps himself with a bat with a single to left field. That scores Iola Sherman. It's 4-0 Rebels. Dixie tacks on a run in the sixth inning on this sacrifice fly by Ryan Searage. The final score, the Dixie Hollins Rebels shut out Pinellas Park 5-0. Dixie moves to 10-2 on the year. The Park's now 8-4-1.
Friday the 13th certainly proved to be no barrier for local soccer teams. Only the soccer power St. Thomas Aquinas stood in the way of a Bay Area clean sweep.
8-3 so far this season and looking for another win, so it's going to be an exciting matchup here tonight.
Bottom half of the first inning, 2 runners on for Eastlake. Joey Simon on the mound for Chamberlain. Josh Laws, the multi-sports star, singles into right field. Coming around third and scoring, Sam Meinrod. It's 1-0 Eastlake. Eagles added another first inning run on a balk and led 2-0 after 1. Shane Bach of Eastlake got some nice defensive help. Here, the Eagles turned their second double play of the game. We take it to the top of the third. Runners on second and third. Josh needs at the plate, and he will take this pitch and single into left field. Zach Kirby will score. It's now a 2-1 Eagles lead. Eastlake with the infield in. Runners on second and third. Same inning. Ground ball to the left side. Tim Seaton will get thrown out by the shortstop. But coming in to score, Matt McElworth on the close play. We're tied at 2. Same inning, Chiefs with runners on first and third. Matt Pippin, the runner on first base, will break with the pitch. And Pat Corvath tries to make the throw. It'll scoot into center field. That allows Josh Neitz to waltz home. It's now 3-2 Chamberlain. Joey Simon went 8 strong innings here, getting a strikeout on Rob Geary. Josh Laws back at the plate doing some damage. Here he singles the other way into left field. That scores Sam Meinrod, and we are tied at 3 in the bottom half of the 5th. The game would stay that way. Eastlake's Greg Coles came on starting the 6th inning in relief of Shane Bach, and he would pitch 4 scoreless innings. For the Chiefs, Simon was strong, allowing just 4 hits over his 8 innings. Here getting a strikeout before darkness set in, and we ended the game in a 3-3 tie.
Yes, we're a real good team, and we just been struggling lately, but we can beat anyone. We played well. We've been kind of struggling lately when we came around today.
Our pitching pitched well. Greg Coles came in and pitched real well. We didn't hit as well as we're capable of hitting, but as a team, we're better than what we formed today.
The sun is gone, but we are still standing here in the dark, waiting for more baseball action after 9 innings of play. Still a tie game. Eric Vishen from the St. Petersburg Times. What do you think?
Well, 3-3. Nobody could get it done. Josh Laws with his second RBI in the bottom of the 5th. Looked like he might get a rally going, but that was it. Greg Coles came in, pitched 4 strong shutout innings, but both teams had chances and both teams failed. So it's a tie for now.
Okay. Well, this is a district game, so it will be made up. Actually, it will be continued at a later date.
No date yet for the continuation. When they do pick up the game, it'll start in the top of the 10th.
For an update on the St. Petersburg Times Baseball Top 10, here's a look at the latest rankings.
A loss and a tie during the week dropped the Eagles to 10th. Moving up, Dixie Hollins. The Marauders lose the top-ranked Tampa Catholic at home. Land O'Lakes at number 7. Joey Fernandez has the Hawks pointed in the right direction at number 6. Pat Russo's squad number 5. The Bulls jump into the top 10 with a bang. At number 3, the Brandon Eagles, where the pitching is really coming through. Jesuits, the top-ranked team in Class 4A, and the best in the state at 3A, our number 1 ranked team, the Tampa Catholic Crusaders.
The sport of wrestling involves unparalleled dedication and discipline in high school athletics. After months of intense solitary commitment, 12 local wrestlers and 1 Bay Area team can call themselves the best in the state.
Hit the number 19 team in the nation, Stanford Seminole, not too long ago. And down at Clearwater Central Catholic, Aaron Deal, who's committed to Vanderbilt, threw a no-hitter as well. He had 168 strikeouts last year, and he doesn't seem to be stopping this year.
He is certainly the real deal. As we turn to Carlos for Hernando, what's going on in your county?
Well, coming into the season, we were expecting big things from Springstead. They have 5 phenomenal pitchers that really have contributed to that team. However, their defense really has had some lagging and haven't given them much support. However, they are carrying them. Over at Hernando, Kyle Tuttle has been the real deal. This gentleman, senior, has come in a week ago Friday, threw 4 shutout innings in relief, pulled the game out. Then on the following Monday, came in, threw a 2-hitter to help Hernando to a 1-0 win.
Historically, one of the greatest regions for baseball, not only in the state, but the entire country, is Hillsborough County. What's going on this year?
And no surprise over in Hillsborough, 2 of the top teams are private schools. National champions, defending national champions, Jesuit, according to Baseball America, up to an 11-1 start. Only 1 loss, that's Tampa Catholic, number 1 ranked team in Class 3A in the state. Tampa Catholic was really solid. A lot of seniors, they can go far.
Yeah, we'll have to watch and see how far they go in the 3A playoffs. Let's give the ladies some equal time, Carlos. What's going on in softball in Hernando County?
Well, if you're going to talk softball in Hernando County, you got to bring up Hernando High School. They have a pitching staff of 3 great pitchers. Beth Chapman, Ernie Chapman, the coach's daughter, Casey Ellis, and Chrissy Hartley. These 3 really haven't had a chance to go into a full rotation, but this weekend at the Auberdale tournament, where some of the best teams in the nation will be, they'll all get their shot.
And what about softball in your region, Eric?
A couple of up-and-coming teams, St. Petersburg being one. They're up to an 11-1 start. They've outscored their opponents 132-12, and since 3 of the top 4 Final Four teams of last year have changed classifications, they could make some noise in Class 5A. Also, Seminole, a young team, they lost a lot of talent last year, but they're up to an 11-2 start.
Guys, we appreciate your time. We look forward to reading you guys the rest of the way on the spring sports. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, right now we're going to take a look at some of our extraordinary athletes for the week. They include a softball pitcher from St. Petersburg High with big league stuff and one of the top hitters in baseball playing for the Chamberlain Chiefs.
Senior Nicky Myers was a 3-year starter for Gibbs before transferring this season to play for regional semifinalist St. Petersburg. Nicky was 10-7 last year for the Gladiators with a 1.48 ERA and 125 strikeouts. As dominating as she is as a pitcher, Myers earned first-team All-County last season as a designated hitter, leading the area with a .596 batting average. Our male extraordinary athlete is Chamberlain senior catcher Lewis Murphy. Murphy is a 3-year starter who began his career as the Chiefs' third baseman. Last year, he moved to catcher and batted .438 with 25 RBIs, both team highs. Defensively, the 5'9", 170-pound Murphy handles pitchers very well and has an outstanding arm. He is a team leader on the field and is also an excellent student with a weighted 4.3 GPA. Louisville and St. Leo are among the schools recruiting him. Congratulations to this week's extraordinary athlete.
Just 2 years removed from a state championship, our Gatorade Extraordinary team is off to a flying start in 1998. Tampa Catholic has an undefeated record through 8 games, including a shutout of heated rival Jesuit, ranked #1 in the state in Class 4A. The Crusaders are currently the state's #1 ranked team in Class 3A, and another state title is certainly within reach for this tradition-rich program.
12 players still remain from the '96 state champs, and 7 starters are back from last year's regional finalists. This year's team hopes for another state title and a return to prominence. In the 70s and early 80s, Tampa Catholic was a perennial baseball power, a fact not lost on today's team.
That was definitely the reason why I decided to come to Tampa Catholic. That was our major goal, was to contribute and try to bring back the tradition at Tampa Catholic.
The 70s, I was coaching at Lato High School at that time, and I knew how good the teams were at Tampa Catholic, and some of the alumni now come around and see me, and we talk about a lot of having them talk to my ball players, because I think that's very important for them to know what the tradition at that school is, and baseball is a big tradition there.
My father was an alumni, and I know the true meaning of TC pride. I mean, you know, green through and through. That's the old saying that I heard from my father all the time. You know, the tradition is, I feel, is the strongest in the state of Florida.
Congratulations to the Tampa Catholic Crusaders baseball team, our Gatorade Extraordinary team.
When we come back, we'll profile a dynamic Bay Area baseball duo in our student-athlete feature. We'll tell you what to look for in the St. Petersburg Times, and we'll show you the candidates for Play of the Week in the Major League Draft. This year is no different, and as Rich Hollenberg tells us, Tampa Catholic's Jared Lynch and Tarpon Springs' Grant Abrams will head the list.
This story is as much about opposites attracting as it is birds of a feather. 2 well-worn cliches, but equally applicable once you get to know Jared Lynch and Grant Abrams, Tampa Bay's version of baseball's odd couple. One's from a private school in Hillsborough County, the other a public school in Pinellas. They also differ in style, Jared's sideburns contrasting Grant's bleach blonde dew. But these fellow shortstops are on the same page in other areas.
Do you kind of pride yourself a little more on your fielding than you do on your hitting?
No, I like to hit. I've just always thought hitting was most important. That's my favorite. It's the best part of the game. So, I mean, you know, just as long as I get the bat, whether I'm in third base, shortstop, or maybe even the outfield, as long as I get to swing the bat. If someone swings the bat, you can put them in the field anywhere. So that's what I've mainly concentrated on, is just the hitting.
Both carry a big stick, but they're also slick in the field. Lynch, a 6'2", 190-pound leadoff hitter for Tampa Catholic, is the reigning Class 3A Player of the Year in Florida, while Abrams, a Tarpon Springs product, turned in MVP performances last summer at a pair of national showcases. Each of their coaches is kind enough to offer the opposition a free scouting report on their respective stars.
He's capable as a leadoff hitter of getting on base, and he strokes the ball well as he's patient to get it to the right pitch. He's an excellent base runner, so I'd have to keep him close to the base and be careful with what we did on the mound in order to hold him close so he would get the advantage. We'd also know that defensively, he does good things, so we know that we have to keep the ball away from him also.
If the game's on the line and we have an open base, we're going to definitely put him on or pitch around him. He can hit mistakes, and he's that good a hitter. And he would love to play every position too. I said, get my foot in the door. He could play any position on that field and play it well.
Their play and their potential has cast the spotlight on Jared and Grant. Student Sports Magazine anointed them the poster boys for the annual bumper crop of baseball talent from Tampa Bay. Both seniors continue to attract attention from the media and from scouts all over the big leagues. One Tampa Bay native turned major leaguer who spent 2 years at Tampa Catholic explains why.
They know Tino Martinez went there, worked hard, and did it, and it just breeds confidence, I guess. The one guy can do it, they can do it, and it just filters down the line.
But therein lies the proverbial roll of the dice for prospects like Grant Abrams and Jared Lynch. Do you turn pro if you're drafted, or do you take a scholarship and get experience in college ball? Tino Martinez went to college, and obviously his decision paid off. But Lynch and Abrams are leaning the other way.
Education is definitely the most important thing, but it's kind of hard making that decision when the money's staring you right in the face. You can always go back to school, so I'm saying if you have the chance and the money's right to go pro, just go straight to the MD. And I think it's also a matter of maturity, and some kids are mature enough that they're ready to move on to the next level.
If they have a nice scholarship and they're drafted beyond the 10th round, usually I like them to go to college. But if they're drafted within the first 10 rounds, I think they should give it a shot because it only comes once.
If a kid's dream is to be pro, and he has it set in his mind, he's worked every day for the last 10, 12 years to reach that goal, he's going to know within himself that he's ready for it.
Both have offers from major Division I schools, but if they get what they want, a spot high enough in the draft, Tampa's Jared Lynch and Tarpon's Grant Abrams will have one more thing in common: a pro baseball career.
I've always wanted to compete, at the next level. Like, even when I was 12, I always wanted to play with my older brothers because they were always 2 years, 2 leagues ahead of me. I wanted to go up there and skip a league and go play with them, but, that wasn't possible. But I always want to take it to the next level and see if I can compete with the guys, that are the best around. Playing in the major leagues is what everyone dreams to from the time they start. So, and also playing the College World Series is something a lot of kids look forward to. But, I don't know, I just see myself playing in the pro league sometimes, and just mainly that's what I've dreamt about.
Grant Abrams has heard from North Carolina, North Carolina State, and Miami. Jared Lynch is getting attention from Tulane, Memphis, and Mississippi State. So obviously, whichever direction this pair chooses, they'll both be on the road to success. Last week, a brilliant soccer save sending River Ridge to the state Final Four earned Play of the Week. This week, we look on the diamond for a diamond in the rough. Let's check out the candidates for Play of the Week.
Word processors and the internet, reporters used to type the number 30 at the bottom of their copy to signify the end of their story. And yes, we have also come to that number 30. But for us, it represents a respite, not a conclusion, as we will return with the start of football next fall. For our season finale, we begin on the baseball diamond, with Pinellas, Hillsborough, and Pasco counties represented in our baseball roundup. We begin at Dunedin Stadium. The Falcons hosted the Patriots. Top half of the first, P. Park's Marcus Saputo with the grounder to third. Jared Barnum of Dunedin, the high throw at first, allows Rob Mullins to score. It's 1-0 Patriots. Still in the first, Champ Rumor at the plate. He'll chop one towards the middle. Josh Hollingsworth, the shortstop, comes in, charges, tries to make the play at first, a little late. And hustling home is Marcus Saputo, a rare mental mistake by Dunedin. Here in the bottom half of the first, Dunedin at the plate. It's Rumor, the third baseman, who throws low, allowing 2 runs to score. This will make it a 3-2 Dunedin lead. A lot of mistakes early on in this game with wild pitches, pass ball, and balk. No mistake there. Josh Hollingsworth, with a bases-clearing double, scores 3 to make it an 8-2 Falcons lead before Hollingsworth is thrown out trying to stretch it to a triple. In the third inning, a ball ripped into right center field by John Sims for an RBI makes it 10-2 Falcons. And Ellis Park with a pitching change, bringing on Jeff Caroluk, but it wouldn't matter. Watch Corey Agar. He's only a sophomore. The catcher hits a huge Titanic 3-run home run. This ball bounces off the trees beyond Grant Field as Dunedin 10 runs Pinellas Park. Final score 16-4. The Falcons win their 12th game of the year. Soberai picks up his 5th win, and John Sims adds a couple of runs and an RBI. Next, we take you to Brandon, where Southeast made the trip up from Bradenton for this game. Starting pitcher Matt Midkiff starts out strong, striking out Greg Price. Bottom half of the first inning, Julian Davis laces one to right field. Gary Cates comes around to score. It's 1-0 Brandon. Bottom of the second, third baseman Todd Burney crushes one deep to left center field, almost hits the scoreboard. That goes as a round tripper and a 2-0 lead for the Eagles. Then it's Burney once again, this time in the third inning, and he will tattoo one to right center field. All the way around to score from first is Julian Davis right behind Sean Kelly. Burney gets a triple out of it to make it a 5-0 Brandon lead. This kid is just a junior, and he showed a big stick on this night. Then it's Danny LaHarange singling up the middle. Burney scores, making it 6-0 still in the third inning. Matt Midkiff adds to the total with a single to right field. That scores Todd Harris. It's now 7-0 Brandon. The Seminoles do get on the board when this shot by Tom Irwin down the third baseline scores Albert Clark and Greg Price. But in the end, it would be too much Brandon. Matt Walter, number 17, closes it out with a strikeout here of Albert Clark. Brandon wins it 9-2. Gary Cates scoring 3 runs in the victory for the Eagles. We were going to take you to Dick Jarrett Field for the Pasco Springstead game, but as you can see, the bleachers, the dugout, the field was empty because the umpires didn't show up, so there was no game. So instead, we take you to the Carpenter Complex for the Hurricanes and Warhawks. Early on, Nick Bell cruising with a strikeout of Mike Thornhill. We move to the top of the third. Seminoles Kevin Cortez with a high, deep drive to center field. That would score Keith Stegbauer on the double. It's 1-0 Warhawks. Then with the score 2-0 in the bottom half of the fifth, Palm Harbor trying to get something going, but C.J. Stimson hits into some tough luck with a line drive double play. 2 batters later, Joe Freisleben with a check swing. Third baseman Ryan Klee with the low throw for the Warhawks. Casey Kochman can't dig it out. But Seminole pitcher Chris Dermott comes up with a big strikeout to end the Palm Harbor threat. Top half of the 6th inning, Seminole leading 2-0 when Mike Thornhill grounds one past Justin Picrominos. He can't come up with it. That makes it a 3-0 Warhawks lead. Chris Giles scoring on the play. Then on the steal, Joe Freisleben's throw gets into center field, scoring Thornhill. That would make it 4-0. Seminole goes on to shut out Palm Harbor. Final score 5-0. The Warhawks will now concentrate on the Steve Georgiadis baseball tournament. They are the 2-time defending champions.
More baseball after the break with our St. Petersburg Times big game. We'll also look in on some baseball and softball results on the Lowe's High School scoreboard. And we'll show you the Times' latest baseball top 10. Stay right there. Big game features an interesting Pinellas County matchup. Dixie Hollins is one of the top 5A programs in the area, ranked 7th locally coming into the week. Their opponent, Clearwater Central Catholic, is one of the state's top-ranked 3A teams and 1 spot ahead of Dixie in the Times top 10. Let's go to Bo Zimmer from CCC with a pregame report.
Welcome to Clearwater Central Catholic High School, home of the 10-3 Marauder Baseball Club. They're going to be taking on the 11-4 Dixie Hollins Rebels tonight, a young team coming off a loss against the Lakewood Spartans on Monday night. Let's cut straight to the action.
All right, Bo, bottom half of the first inning. Aaron Deal is the real deal. The starting pitcher hits one deep to left field for a home run, and Clearwater Central Catholic takes a 1-0 lead. In that inning, Lou Stracione with a base hit that would load the bases for the Marauders. But Dixie pitcher Matt Komet strikes out Ryan Dixon to end the threat. Move to the bottom half of the second. CCC's Chris Hart singles on the middle. Angelo Rivera scores. It's 2-0 CCC. Top half of the third inning, Ryan Searage with a steal of third base. Brian Riley's throw goes into left field, allowing Searage to score. It's now a 2-1 Marauders lead. Bottom half of the third inning, Dixie's Dan Moslick with the bases loaded walks Jason Ramzamuk, and scoring is Brian Riley. It's now 3-1 Clearwater Central Catholic. Top of the fourth, Ray Searage with a little bloop into right field. That would be Dixie's first hit off of Aaron Deal, and one of only 2 on the night. Bottom half of the fourth inning, Brian Riley can do it on the football field, and he can do it on the baseball field. A long 2-run home run deep to left center field gives the Marauders a 5-1 lead. Final inning, Lou Stracione on in relief for Clearwater Central Catholic uncorks a wild pitch. Drew Metcalf, number 10, scores. It's now 5-2 CCC. So in comes the starter once again, Aaron Deal, and he is greeted by a line drive to center field by Ryan Searage, scoring brother Ray. It's now 5-3. But Deal closes out the game, striking out Mike Smith and Dan Hartley to preserve the Clearwater Central Catholic 5-3 win.
Dixie Hollins suffers its second straight loss tonight, while CCC improves its record to 11-3 for the season. With me now, head coach for the Marauders, Mr. Todd Vaughn. And tell me, how big of a role did pitching play in tonight's game, especially with that move you made there at the end with Deal?
Well, pitching was everything tonight. We tried to, save a little bit of innings off of Aaron, bringing another guy. It just didn't work out tonight. Aaron came back, had the same stuff, got us out of the game, and, got the win and the save.
Okay, well, that wraps up things for our final big game of the week.
Good game between two of Pinellas County's best. Aaron Deal gets the very rare combination of a win and a save in the same game. With district tournaments less than a month away, the action is starting to heat up. Let's check out some scores from baseball and softball on the Lowe's High School scoreboard. In Friday night baseball games, the Eagles pound out 16 hits. Greg Coles wins his 5th game of the year. It took 8 innings for Osceola to defeat Robinson. The Chargers allow just 1 hit as they 10-run rule the Golden Eagles. The Ridgewood Rams are the Sunshine Athletic Conference champions. The Leopards score 4 runs in the final inning to defeat the Bulldogs. Mistakes and unearned runs cost the Wildcats in this matchup of first-year schools. The Crusaders on Friday night were gearing up for yesterday's battle with Jesuit. Tampa Catholic won the first matchup against the Tigers 10-0. In softball, a great game between the Cougars and the Warhawks. The Cougars played excellent defense in this victory. St. Petersburg shuts down Clearwater 10-0. Nikki Myers with yet another no-hitter. She was a couple of errors away from a perfect game. 6 triples for the Griffins as Sickles shuts out Wharton. Both teams are now 9-7 as Land O'Lakes loses to South Fork. And the Cowboys use 13 hits. Gaither is now 15-1 in the softball season. Now it's time to find out who's the area's best. Here's the latest St. Petersburg Times Baseball Top 10. The Buccaneers are hanging in the top 10. The Bulls are back in. Scott Decatur's Spongers cracked the top 10 for the first time. The Gators are a deep team at number 7. Ridgewood, with a lot of time in the weight room, paying off for the Rams. Jonathan Wiggins' Rebels reached the top 5 for the first time despite an 0-2 week. Todd Vaughn's Marauders are number 4. The Eagles are getting great pitching at number 3. John Crumbly's Tigers are number 2. And Nemesis Tampa Catholic still our number 1 team. Number 1 played number 2 on Saturday. Look for results in today's St. Petersburg Times. When we come back, we'll serve up some softball action with a game featuring our number 2 and number 4 ranked teams. We'll feature a couple of extraordinary athletes, including a female track star who has set an incredibly lofty standard. And we'll tell you about a baseball team that has turned a lot of heads this season. Don't go away. Welcome back. In softball, East Bay and Durand have a combined 21-1 record entering the week, with the only blemish coming in the first matchup between these two teams. In that game, East Bay won 2-0, and freshman Mandy Sherman just missed out on a perfect game. For the rematch, let's go to East Bay for the highlights. Each of these teams actually lost earlier in the week as we take you to highlights. Heidi Wendell doubles home Mandy Sherman for a 1-0 lead, and the East Bay freshman combination getting it done. Bottom half of the second, Jackie Casey with the bases loaded, grounder to second. Lonnie Schaefer's throw just a bit late. Jessica Dupree with the score. Nancy Maxwell follows with a single in the left field, scoring Jennifer Strell. It's 3-0. Bottom of the 4th, Nancy Maxwell crushes one to left field, all the way to the fence. Mandy Sherman scores all the way into 3rd with a triple as Maxwell. Then it's Stacy Miltner singling into center field to score Maxwell to make it 5-0. Finally, go ahead Miss Wendell with a deep double to left field. All the way around from first comes Miltner to score. That would make it an East Bay 6-0 lead. Heidi gets thrown out trying to stretch it to a triple. Durand avoids the shutout in the 6th inning. Aaron O'Brien strokes a double in the left center field, scoring Lonnie Schaefer to make it 6-1. That would be the final score as East Bay shuts the door in the 7th. Mandy Sherman squeezes the final out. The Indians defeat Durand twice this season and move their record to 14-1. In our extraordinary athlete segment, we meet last year's Times All-North Suncoast Girls Track Athlete of the Year and a Brandon pitcher who is turning into one of Hillsboro's finest. The superlatives trail Shar Foster like most of her opponents. After transferring from Clearwater Central Catholic, Foster won 3 state titles last year with Ridgewood, pushing her total to an astounding 12 for her career. Foster, who was the junior national champion in the 400-meter hurdles in '96, won state crowns in the 100 and 300 hurdles, as well as the 200-meter dash. In the 100 hurdles, her time of 14.12 is a Class 5A state record, and she owns the all-classes mark in the 300 hurdles at 41.72. Foster is taking her immense talent to the University of South Carolina next year. Our male extraordinary athlete is Brandon pitcher shortstop Matt Midkiff. The junior right-hander owned an ERA below 1.50 and had a 6-1 record coming into the week. Last year, Midkiff pitched some big games, including a district win, and his hard work in the weight room has improved his velocity this year. Along with the fastball, Midkiff owns a fierce changeup and curveball. In addition, Matt is an outstanding student with a 4.2 GPA. Congratulations to this week's extraordinary athletes. With last year's 26-5 squad dismantled by graduation, our Gatorade Extraordinary team came into this season with some unanswered questions. Most of the answers so far have been yes, as this Eagle squad has soared above expectations. Following their second district baseball title, Eastlake graduated 8 players, including 4 pitchers. This year's young squad opened eyes early in the season when Dustin Sode no-hit Sanford Seminole, the 18th ranked team in the nation.
Well, we did have a number of kids coming back, even though we lost basically our entire pitching staff. As far as what we were gonna do, a lot of it had to do with how the younger kids matured and how the older kids held things together until the younger ones were able to mature.
Last Saturday night at Bradenton Manatee, Byers won his 400th career game as a manager.
It was a great night. Great night for him. We had a great night. Couldn't beat a better team. Good team. Couldn't think of a better situation for it. We played great. We played our hearts out. Perfect night for everyone.
All the coaches were just telling us to play relax, don't pressure ourselves. But yeah, I think everybody in the back of their mind, we knew that we wanted to win this one for Coach for his 400.
Congratulations to the Eastlake baseball team, our Gatorade Extraordinary team. Without at least one retrospective segment. And to do so, we bring in our 2 reporters, Rich Hollenberg and Bo Zimmer. Thanks, guys, for a great job all year long. Now, these 2 have brought you feature stories on area athletes all season. And we're going to start with Bo and find out about some of the students he has featured.
Todd, it's been a lot of fun, and the notion that good athletes can't also be great students is one stereotype I think it's fair to say we've proven false week after week. In fact, after doing these stories, it appears that the structured schedules athletes have actually helps them keep their grades up by staying focused. Chances are that few will ever reach the professional level, but they'll all benefit in the future from a solid education. Driven and determined. Those 2 words could describe any of the many athletes we have featured this year. Most had big dreams, like Berkeley Prep senior Yukio Zawa. During the school year, she played volleyball, basketball, and softball, all while managing to train in the Olympic sport of Taekwondo. Armwood High's Ronnie King kept up an intense schedule as well, leading the Fighting Hawks basketball team while keeping up a 4.2 GPA. Ridgewood's Mike Rebello had time for nothing but sports. When it comes to baseball, his younger brother described him as somewhat psycho. And then there was Kristen Sander, a star at one of Tampa's smallest schools, Bayshore Christian, who may never make it big in pro basketball, but got the most out of her abilities, both on the court and off. At Lakewood High School, senior Brenton Meese was a leader both on the soccer field and in the classroom. As one of the only 2 seniors on an all-underclassmen team, that was sometimes a challenge. And Boo Boo McKay, a football and basketball athlete at Zephyr Hills High School, had the most to overcome, the loss of his #1 fan, his father. Although each excelled in athletics, unique talents, interests, and goals could be found in each student's life. Whether or not any of these young athletes will win gold in the Olympics or make it to the pros, all will most likely end up successful in life. I think it's also important to remember that we only have 30 shows per year, and there are certainly more than 30 outstanding student athletes deserving of our recognition. All I can say is wait till next year and maybe we'll be featuring you.
All right, Bo, thank you very much.
Thanks, Todd.
Now we turn things over to Rich Hollenberg. Tell us about your story.
Oh, how much time do you have, Todd? We got a lot of them to talk about. Every person I've featured this year is unique. They all have their own talents, their own attitudes, their own styles. But there is one common thread that ties them all together: the desire and the drive to be the best. The year began with the story of Juan Murillo, who could have been a problem child, but instead became an exemplary one, helping the St. Pete football and soccer teams to the playoffs. One of Murillo's teammates on the Green Devils soccer team, Captain Mike Patagna, a striker on the field and a valedictorian in the classroom, Mike also wowed us with his high-flying hobby. A high flyer of a different sort is Robinson's Desmond Allison. He was a highlight reel all by himself on the football field and on the basketball court, where he became the first Tampa Bay recruit to sign with Kentucky. And speaking of hoops, you couldn't find a better pair of teammates this year than Shaniki Whiting and Molly Worrell from Clearwater. Molly's off to play college ball, but we'll still be enjoying Shaniki's talents as a Tornado next year. Jared Lynch and Grant Abrams aren't on the same team, but they do share a common bond called baseball. Both are shortstops, both are all-stars, and both have major league dreams. Good thing for Jared and Grant, they didn't have to face Amanda Betker. This Viking has been virtually unhittable in her softball career and will graduate from the red and white of Northeast to the red and white of the University of Maryland. Vanessa Cook's goals also include college, but this sophomore's sights are set squarely on the Olympics. Not one, not two, but 5 events are on Vanessa's plate, training for the pentathlon, the ultimate in individual competition. But when you talk teams, there's none better than Brandon Wrestling. The national record for consecutive wins by any high school team, the Eagles soared to their 11th state title in 1998, a year that turned out to be a memorable one in high school sports. What's great about all of the student athletes we just saw is that they are all just that, student athletes. And as talented as they are in their respective sports, they're equally impressive in their respective classrooms. And Todd, that's really what impressed me most, the balance that they strike.
And that is the bottom line. These guys have a lot more going on than athletics. Guys, thanks for bringing us their stories. We look forward to seeing you back here next year.
Thank you.
You know, our most popular segment all season long, the most responses we've received from the coaches and players has been for our Play of the Week. By now, you know the drill. Here are the candidates and our final winner for Play of the Week.
We start with some great defense. East Bay's Jackie Casey robs Leah Rowland on the great tumbling cat. Seminoles' John Killalay chops one off the plate. Palm Harbor's Kenny Holmberg, the nice play, and the stretch it burst by C.J. Stimson. Nancy Dages with the grounder. The best defensive play of the night turned in by Mandy Sherman deep in the hole and the stretch by Jennifer Strell. At Dunedin Stadium, Pete Park in Dunedin, and the sprinklers go on in the middle of the game. Then we turn to a home run barrage. CCC's Brian Riley with a deep shot to left center field. We debated about which of these final 2 home runs was the more titanic blast. Here, Dunedin's Corey Agar goes deep over the wall off the Florida foliage at Dunedin Stadium. But it wasn't quite as impressive as this majestic blast by Brandon's Todd Burney over the scoreboard deep in left field. He earns our Play of the Week.
For the final time, we take you over to the locker room and bring in Mike Foley for the latest from the St. Petersburg Times.
Thank you, Todd, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for tuning in the St. Petersburg Times High School Sports Show the past few months. It's been our pleasure to help bring you the exciting action, fabulous performances, and inspiring stories that make high school sports so darn cool. And we'll be back bigger and better than ever next fall. In the meantime, the St. Petersburg Times hasn't taken a day off since 1894, so keep looking for your favorites every day. In sports, the Devil Rays are in the big leagues and the Bucks will crank it up. Friday, Weekend Magazine. Thursday, Taste. Monday, Express. Sunday, travel, comics, business, TV listings, Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh my, all this and more all summer long in Florida's best newspaper, the St. Petersburg Times.
Thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate the effort and wit all season long. Now you have 4.5 months to get ready for your next one. Well, this is it. We embarked on a journey into unfamiliar waters 30 weeks ago, a half-hour weekly high school sports show airing on a network affiliate. There are so many people to thank for their efforts, we would need another half-hour show to list them all. But there are some that can't go unmentioned. First and foremost, an incredibly dedicated group from Video Art Productions. They have given up their past 30 weekends for this show. To Art Dreiss, Tom Sipos, Terry Dowling, Andy Rather, and Dustin Johnson, thank you. This show worked because you gave the extra effort. Thanks to Fox 13 and the crew led by Jack Hubler for letting us disrupt their Thursday nights every week. Thanks to all the reporters at the St. Petersburg Times, with a very special thanks to Mike Stevenson. And finally, thanks to you, the students, the parents, the coaches, the viewers of this show in our inaugural season. We'll see you again next football season right here on Fox 13. Until then, keep hitting those books. I'm Todd Callis.